everybody. Thanks so much for joining us right here on The Right View. Tonight, we're joined by U.S. Army veteran and first living recipient of the Medal of Honor from the Iraq War, David Bellavia. David, incredible. I want to say thank you on behalf of the entire country for your service. We're so appreciative for what you have done for our country and, your fellow soldier, etc. And we're excited to talk to you. So thanks for joining us. But I want to talk a little bit sort of about your life before you became this incredible Medal of Honor recipient. You grew up in Buffalo, the youngest of 4 boys, went to college, and then decided to join the military, which is a bit of a departure from, I think, what a lot of people do. Where did your desire come from to join the Army? Because it is a bit of an unusual path.
It is. My father was a dentist. And so most kids rebelled by getting tattoos and earrings. I decided to not floss or brush for weeks. That was my way of getting back at him.
Way to really
my
get him.
grandfather is still with us, is 102, and he's
gosh.
a Normandy veteran.
Wow.
And I was hearing stories about the war that probably you shouldn't tell an 8-year-old, but I was growing up hearing these things, and I just saw so much nobility and purpose in serving.
Yeah.
And so before there was, 9/11, I decided that I wanted to join the Army. And I did. And I became an infantryman in the 1st Infantry Division. And, it was Kosovo. There wasn't really a war on the horizon. And then when 9/11 cooked off, everything changed for everybody. It changed for you. It changed for me. It changed for the whole country. And so I wasn't going to miss this fight. I mean, this is what I trained, up to that point for almost 3 years of my life to get in to Afghanistan. And when that didn't happen, Iraq was our fight. And so, I grew where I was planted. But I never in a million years thought that, Granddad had the great adventure of the greatest generation. And I just wanted to be a part of my generation's fight. And we found that, in the war on terror.
Well, David, I would ask you, how did your parents feel about your decision to enlist? But I have to ask you, how did your grandfather feel about that decision? I mean, my goodness, you're just saying, he basically, I guess he stormed the beaches of Normandy. That's incredible. The fact that he had seen what obviously he had in his day, how did he feel about you enlisting?
He got the Normandy invasion like D-Day plus 29. He came in with Patton's army after the initial, beach storming. But still, he got Northern Africa and the Normandy campaign. And so, I mean, look, it's an incredible legacy. And I think, what's weird, my father was a dentist. And so his whole life was basically designed getting people out of pain. And it was weird for him that his son decided to join a vocation where we're trying to inflict it on the enemies of the United States of America. Right. So it wasn't exactly, what you expect your kid to do. All my brothers have master's degrees and they're super educated, and I'm proud of all 3 of my brothers. I chose a different path. I went to the university at Fort Benning, Georgia, and got my PhD in global studies, and I'm very proud of it. But serving my country and serving in the Army at a time of war is really the greatest thing I've ever done in my life, and it completely changed me. And I was surrounded by people that were different than me, that thought differently than I did. And we did this together. And it was really one of the greatest experiences for any American to, we have a million reasons why we're divided and we're polarized, but you put us against enemies of the United States of America, and we're going to show you what America's all about and who we are. And my generation did that, and I'm super proud of our fight.
Yeah, it's so true. I feel like it's sad in a way that one of the things that I think does bring us together as Americans is when we have an enemy and we all can rally together as a country and say, well, this is our enemy and you'll never defeat the United States. But it is a little bit sad that we have to have that in order to feel like we come together. The story about your the reason you received the Medal of Honor. So you enlisted in 1999, and then while serving in 2004, there was a mission that ultimately led to you receiving the Medal of Honor. What happened? Tell us about this mission.
This was the second battle of Fallujah, and Fallujah is basically a city the size of Tampa Bay, Florida. And at that point, all the women and children were separated from the city, and it was just the bad guys, Zarqawi's bad guys. This would have been, what later became ISIS. And so these were some really radical Al-Qaeda folks. This is where all the beheading videos came from. The city of Fallujah was terrorist headquarters. And so we gave them about 6 months to prepare for this invasion. And this was a old school, Old Testament, anything living is there to kill you. We're taking everyone out, and it's door to door, house to house, close quarter fighting. And it's really like the OK Corral. You walk in, you could be the Marvel Avengers. If someone's got a machine gun on a door, you're going to get shot. It's just a matter of luck, really. It's dumb luck a lot of the times. And we were in a house with a couple of guys with belt-fed machine guns behind a door. The whole house was rigged to blow with explosives, and we found ourselves at the wrong place at the wrong time, and there's not a lot of decision making that really can go on. I was on one side of the house and my platoon was on the other. It was my turn. These guys did this for me 2 days before, the day before, 2 days later, and your number gets called. And my number got called, and I just kept going until my luck ran out, and just by luck and the grace of God, my luck didn't run out. I just kept going until I walked out. And you take trauma and you could be victimized by that trauma, and it can affect you the rest of your life, or you could be empowered by it. And I served with men who every time we had a bad day, we were empowered by what we were going through. We were there to protect our moms, our dads, our culture, our way of life. And nothing was going to take that. Nothing was going to intimidate us. We weren't going to back down from anything. And those men got me through the toughest days of my life. And it shaped me into who I am today. And I'm grateful to experience that with them. But it's just one of those things where you don't ever, the Medal of Honor is like, it's like getting hit by lightning with a lottery ticket in your hand. There's a winner. You don't ever expect it. You put these guys on pedestals, and to be a recipient, I'll see that award in my house, and I'll be like, you better give that back to the owner, because they're gonna find out you got one. And it's a really humbling experience. It really is.
Well, I mean, quite frankly, receiving the Medal of Honor, as incredible as that is, what you have to go through, the hell you have to go through, I imagine, in order to receive that, it's kind of unimaginable, I think, to most of us. And we're so lucky that we have men and women out there like you who are willing to do the things that will earn you that accolade. And I imagine, again, it's an accolade that while you never want to have to go through what you went through to receive it, obviously incredible to receive. But tell me about, I understand that there was a cigarette that led to part of kind of the craziness of this, act that earned you the Medal of Honor. Tell me about that.
Well, thank you for bringing up my smoking addiction back in the day. These were dark times, I assure you. But no, listen, I mean, I did what every infantryman did, right? I smoked cigarettes, and I did chewing tobacco. And so when you're stressed out, that was my relief. And I knew there were more people in the house, but I just figured I'd have a quick smoke. And we're well rehearsed, by the way, in hiding, a cigarette. You put your hand over it. Like an infantryman knows how to smoke in any circumstance. They train that on day one. And I thought I had hit it pretty well, but evidently there was someone above me on the top floor. And so he jumped down to a patio. And it was just kind of like, of all the things you expect, that's not what I was expecting. I don't think he was expecting me to be right there either, but he landed and he hurt himself. He broke a leg or hurt his leg. And by the grace of God, that moment of just staring at each other felt like an eternity,
Sure,
But you know, again, you get the jump on someone, and that probably led me to quit smoking. You know, if that had anything to do with it, I certainly I've stopped since because of that.
If anything's going to shake you to quit smoking, perhaps it's like an enemy falling in front of you while you're outside having a smoke. So we're glad to know that you've kicked the habit now. So congratulations on that. All of this, though, started on the night of your 29th birthday. Is that right?
Yeah, it was November 10th, 2004. You know, when I was a kid, I would walk through cemeteries and I would see someone born and died on the same day. And I would always think to myself, man, that's got to be so rough on a mom, you know? And I remember during some really tough times when I didn't think I was going to, you know, make it out, I was just like, God, get me through to at least the 11th. You know, get me to another day so that at least my mom and my family can remember my birthday and my death on 2 different days. It doesn't have to be the same day, you know? But, you know, there's moments in life where you feel super confident and then like your self-esteem just goes down into the dumps. And a close quarter firefight is really not a physical fight. It's a mental fight. You know, it's all about domination. And if you are the least bit feeding any negative thought into your head, you know, you've got to intimidate the enemy in close quarters. And you have to remind them that whatever you do to me, this American flag on my shoulder, there's going to be 40 other men that are going to come through this door, and come hell or high water, we're going to take you out. No matter what you do to me, there's other guys coming behind me. That's the oath, and that's what we swear to do. And being a part of that team and being a part of that might of the American military, it really, we're fighting for something far more than our enemies are fighting for, you know? And I thought for the longest time that I needed hate in my heart to get me through a fight. I had to hate the enemy. I had to hate what they did to 9/11. I would play the mental tapes of those men and women jumping out of that building and play it over and over again. I would watch beheading videos and think, I'm going to avenge that person today. I'm going to get them for what they did to us. And the last thing I ever expected to see on a battlefield was love. I never realized that, you know, hate is like nitrous. It gets you from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, but you can't sustain hate. We don't fight because we hate the enemy. We fight because we love our country. We love each other. We do this for each other. And that's the essence of why we fight. We fight because we love our country and we love our neighbors and our family and those men and women that serve with you, that look different than you, that worship different than you. They might love different than you. They breathe and talk with their mouths sometimes simultaneously, but they're yours. They're your family. And you're going to do whatever it takes to bring them home. And I found love on a battlefield, and I never in a million years would expect it to have found that. But it changed my life for the better. And it made me, you know, focus on why we do what we do every single day. It's all love. And it bothers me that so many anti-war people see guys like me as almost ambassadors of combat. I don't want war at all, but I'll tell you what, we're really good at it. And if you want to mess with us, you're going to get everything we got in the toolbox. And when you saw the caliphate grow to the way that they grew and how easily they crumpled by just putting pressure on them, that's all it took was a will to defeat the caliphate. That's what we were able to do. And we could have done that, you know, 4.5 years before it happened. There wasn't a will. And so I'm awful grateful to be at a military and to receive this award at a time when America was, you know, the shining city on the hill again. And our military is struggling right now. We're really hurting, and morale is in the garbage. And we've got to do something to remind these young men and women of who they are and what they're defending. And I think we'll be a safer country if we do that.
Well, you know, the way you describe, first of all, the way you talk about finding love on a battlefield, I think it's so true. There's so many people out there that would have you believe that America is broken, that we're at each other's throats, that we're so divided. But man, there is nothing like standing by your fellow American. I don't care who you are, where you're from, what you look like, what you do for a living. When you mess with an American, I mean, that's it. You're my brother, you're my sister. And I know that's exactly, David, how you feel. I think so often about, you see these scenes, sometimes it's in a movie, and the enemy is just, kind of expanding, whether it's a caliphate like you're talking about or something else. And then there's like the United States of America. You see like the helicopters come in, or the planes fly in or something, and it's like everything is going to be all right because nobody messes with America and nobody takes down America. That has been who we have been from our inception. That is what we represent as a country. We are the strength. And I think you're right. I think it's actually incredibly frightening to think right now that we have had a slight maybe departure from that. Are you still close with people who are serving right now that maybe tell you things aren't the same way it was back in the day like it was for you?
Well, they brought me back in the Army, something President Trump offered me. We were trying to change the way the Medal of Honor was kind of received. And I was like the first guy that they brought back in to help recruit. And so I could tell you the difference of what it was in the Trump administration to as of a couple of weeks ago when I was left the service of the military. It's tough. A lot of people, goof on this generation of young people. It's a parlor game that old people play. It makes us feel younger when we can complain about the 18-year-olds and how complacent and worthless they are. But the truth is, this generation is really special, and they're super smart, and they've got they're going to do what every generation does when they get tested. They're going to step up. And we were the couch potatoes, remember? I mean, Generation X, we listened to Kurt Cobain. We played PlayStation version 1, but we did it for 12 hours a day, and we didn't leave mom and dad's couch. 9/11 happens. We got free tickets to SeaWorld. We're the greatest generation in the world because we were tested. And that's all this generation needs is a test. What I fear, though, is that we're wasting time when we should be out there doing what Americans do. Our military is not a petri dish. It's not a social experiment. It's not here to make you feel good about, who you are. If you have a hard time deploying soldiers at a time of war, don't vote for the war. We're not, aspects of your political agenda. We're not here to empower and better some of these platforms. It's deeply disturbing. It's not effective for war. And when I look at the Chinese, I find them adorable. I find the Russian army the cutest thing in the world. They're no match for us. They have no idea what they're getting into. You're running out of gas in Ukraine right now. We've got a fighting force that has been cutting their teeth for 20 years. We've been hooking and jabbing in places that these other countries couldn't imagine deploying troops. In the Hindu Kush, armored assets in Iraq. We've had urban fighting, mountain fighting, cold weather fighting, high elevation fighting. We've done it all, and we've eliminated the enemy. These folks are pushing around bureaucrats. They're pushing around political class individuals that have been entitled their entire life, have never known a struggle. They don't know what the fighting men and women of the United States are capable of. And I fear that they're going to judge our might by the individual sitting across from a table. And that's deeply disturbing because I don't really see a whole lot of swagger there today. And that's missing, but hopefully that changes soon.
I mean, I think it has to. I honestly, whenever you embolden an enemy, and maybe you're saying the Chinese, the Russians, whoever it is that would be a presumed possible enemy. Yes, our military capabilities far exceed theirs, but you never want to have to try it out. Like we want to stay out of that. We want them. It's peace through strength, like Donald Trump used to say. That is the best way forward. But whenever you have somebody who maybe isn't representing that as much as we should be as America, it is a bit of a frightening place to exist. But yes, we will certainly hope for the best. I have to ask you about your books. In 2007, you wrote your first book titled House to House, an epic memoir of war. You kind of went into detail about your experiences overseas. You have a new one, though, coming out in November. Tell me about your new book and what can we expect?
Yeah, so this one's called Remember the Ramrods. That's my unit, the Ramrods, the mighty Ramrods, the 2-2 infantry out of the 1st Infantry Division. And we spent this award happened 15 years ago. You get a call out of the blue. It's the President of the United States. Maybe you've met him, President Trump. I have his number if you need the introduction, but I figure
could you send it to me?
Yeah, I will. I'll give you that.
Okay,
good. Meeting President Trump was one of the most surreal. So our unit is emblematic of America. We've got guys voted for Hillary. We have people that believe the space program's fake. Wrestling's real. We got a lot of interesting folks out there. And these guys meet President Trump. And I was blown away at how his personality and the way he can talk to soldiers, they all were Team Trump at the end of that meeting. And the way he just handles, when you're nominated for the Medal of Honor, you get to hang out with a lot of presidents. And so I had the fortune of getting to be, around President Obama and President Bush. Those presidents were almost ashamed of the power of the presidency, where Trump personified it. He understood that he was the most powerful man in the world, and he wanted everyone else to know, I got this. Don't worry about a thing. This is in competent hands. You relax. I'm running the country. When I got an opportunity, most Medal of Honor recipients, you get the award, you eat a lamb shank and have some, shrimp at the White House, and it's over, right? This is the first time a Medal of Honor was received where the entire task force came on stage. It's never been done before. Wow. And it was President Trump that said, bring them all up, every one of them. And that White House ceremony turned into a rally of a bunch of infantrymen hanging out with their commander-in-chief that allowed the award to be not about one guy in a house in Fallujah, but about a unit of unique Americans that all fought together. And we had people from every cross-section of life on a stage with a commander-in-chief that wanted them to be there. And this book is about how 15 years went, we all went our separate ways. Some of us got divorced. Some of us had a hard time matriculating back to normalcy. But this Medal of Honor award and this White House ceremony brought us back into each other's lives, and how much we needed each other for a sense of purpose, for a sense of value. And to be able to find that in the White House, of all places, was the most special gift I've ever had in my adult life. I have these men that I loved back in my life again. And it's because of this award that's so weird and awkward and rare, but this award allowed us all to become a family again. And that's what this book is about.
Wow. Oh, well, first of all, I love hearing that story about your experience at the White House. Side note, the food at the White House is delicious. Great chefs at the White House. As you know, the lamb shank or shrimp or whatever you're going for there, highly recommend. But I love this story, and thank you for the kind words about my father-in-law. I'm going to tell him some of this story. I hope you don't mind next time I see him, because people, of course, you know how people generally portray Donald Trump. But he is that person. He does exude that power and that strength. And it's actually something, you're right, that most people never even think of it the way you said it, though, David, that it kind of tells you, I got it, you're okay. It's the same way that a child wants to know their parent is in charge or something like that. I know that sounds kind of weird, but that's sort of like the sense of things that I get from you. And I imagine I have family that's in the military currently that has served in the past. And to know that your commander-in-chief, the person who is in charge of every move that you ultimately make, has your back like that, and they're like, we got this, there's nothing to worry about. That's got to be a really great feeling, just to know that they feel so in charge and like there's really nothing you need to worry about.
And having that from the highest echelons of leadership, that trickles down. Yeah. And you get that swagger of, I mean, at that point, Iran was playing footsie and they were launching rockets, and it was, 2019, summer of 19, COVID. We had no idea what COVID was at that point. The threats on the horizon were, if you mess with us, we're going to mess with you. And, for civilians, that's horrifying. But for the military, we want to know that if we're going to be committed to a conflict, that our commander in chief is not deploying us for a stalemate. He's not deploying us, to tie or to fight with honor. We're there to destroy you. If we can't come up to any other agreement other than military, deployments and fighting, we're there to win. And if we can't win, we're not going to fight. We're going to win every time we go out there and crushing Baghdadi and ISIS and all that ground we lost in Iraq, and so many beautiful men lost their lives to defend. And to see that in the hands of the enemy, to see Afghanistan right now, it's just emotionally debilitating for so many people. What did I give you 20 years for? Right. This is 20 years of our life. These men and women have deployed 7-8 years away from home, 7-8 years away from their families. And it's just passed off as if it's life, just deal with it. It's personal. And it was good to know that there was a commander in chief that took it personally too. And I think that means something.
Well, I'm going to share some of your sentiments with him. I hope you don't mind. I want to ask you though about veterans. Obviously, it's as a person who has served for so long yourself, it's something that I know is really important to you. You're launching a new venture that's going to really help veterans and their families. Would love to hear more about that.
Oh, well, thank you for this opportunity. I partnered with a guy named Stephen Smallwood out of Texas who has a company called Adjusting Online. And if you go to that website, this is insurance adjusting at a time when we've got storm seasons. We just had the flooding in Kentucky and hurricane season. We're in the middle of it. This is, we're seeing, like so many other industries in the United States, a lack of people wanting to do this type of work. But for military veterans especially, the insurance adjuster shows up, goes through the flooded house. They're responsible for putting your life back together. And veterans are incredible at this line of work. And so Adjusting Online is offering through the DOD, they just got approved with My CAA, which allows scholarships to go to not only the veteran, but the wives of veteran, up to $4,000 for the spouses. And we have a scholarship program through a 501c3 non-for-profit, and any dollar is matched 100% of the time. $2,500, you're giving a scholarship to a veteran to get up to $5,000 for this training and certification. These are not just part-time jobs. This is a career in a very, lucrative, career path as an insurance adjuster. And you have the empathy of what we showed when we deployed. We were going into war-torn areas and seeing people struggling. Going into a field like the field that these veterans have come from gives you a sense of purpose. We're trying to eliminate the stigma of talking about post-traumatic stress, eliminating suicide. Veterans and their spouses especially, they need a sense of purpose, to know that they matter and they have a place in our society. And something, during flooding or wildfires or hurricanes or earthquakes, you name it, these are Americans that are struggling. And having a veteran show up at their door saying, I'm here to help you like I did in uniform, adjustingonline.com is a great opportunity to help veterans get that training, that certification, and put them on a path for a career that actually is impacting their own citizens. It's a beautiful thing. I'm proud to be a part of it.
Well, it sounds like such a win and such a great idea. Like you're saying, these are people, veterans that they've seen war, they've seen, so many different tragic situations. They can empathize, I think, with people, as you're saying. And gosh, what a great thing to come home after you've served and you really don't know what direction, you want to go in your life, and you don't really have a plan sometimes. This is a great idea. So I'm so happy to know that this is something that you're pursuing, and I encourage anybody out there to check it out. Very important question, though, for you, David. Are the Buffalo Bills going to win the Super Bowl this year? What do we think?
I can't believe we haven't dedicated the entire half hour together talking about this one important topic. It's over. We are number one. Buffalo, my hometown. You're welcome for the chicken wings. You're welcome for, And by the way, President Trump was very close to owning the Buffalo Bills.
That's
and had
true.
that happen,
That's right.
The president thing doesn't ever happen. So you're welcome, America and Trump supporters.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. The Bills are a team of destiny, and the Bills are going to be Super Bowl champions. And when that happens, you, the family, more than welcome to come over, have some quality wings, and we'll all be celebrating together.
I love it. A little wings, a little Super Bowl celebration. We could do it all. And it sounds fantastic. Well, final question, David. We loved having you, but I have to ask you, what do you think is the best part of America, and what do you think is the biggest threat to the future of our country?
I mean, the biggest threat, that's a no-brainer. China doesn't even belong in the World Trade Organization. They're manipulating our currency. They're stealing our intellectual property. There has absolutely been no pushback at all to what the Chinese regime is doing militarily, economically. These are no friends of ours at all. And so much of the China apparatus is bleeding into Iran, and now Venezuela, and now Russia, and everything else. China is an existential threat. They're the literal threat. They're on the horizon. And I tell young people all the time, you can fight them today, you can fight them tomorrow, but you have to be aggressive. In the Army, we've been fighting bullies since 1775. We're well versed in fighting bullies. And China right now thinks they talk a big game, but this is an existential threat we have to face in this lifetime. We don't want to kick this can down the road for our children to have to deal with it. Right. These are definitely the bad guys. But the greatest thing about America is that document. That wonderful document that allows, listen, I don't agree with a single thing Brittany Griner has to say. I know we disagree on politics, but you know what? She is on our team. She's a part of our family. No one touches these crazy protesters, these folks that want to see the world in a different way. It's our family, it's our team. That document is what connects us. And if we read the Federalist Papers, if you read that Constitution, we don't swear an oath to a presidency. We don't swear an oath to a party. We swear an oath to a document. And I wish people would remind them that on our dog tags, there's no place for political affiliation. It's blood type, name, and religion, and what country we're from. And if we can remind our elected officials about that, maybe they'll put priorities in order, and we'll be the shining city on the hill again. I'm not pessimistic, and there's a lot of reasons to be pessimistic. I believe in this country. I believe in Americans, and we're going to be all right. Help is on the way, I'm told.
I certainly hope so. We do need help on the way in many forms, some, sooner rather than later. But David, I got to just say thank you for joining us, and thank you for all you've done to serve our country, to assist your fellow soldier, etc. And I mean, you with your books, I'm sure you're inspiring a lot of people. So we appreciate your time, and thank you for joining us today. And to everybody at home, as always, thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here next time for more of The Right View.